So hey everyone, I wanted to give us an insight into those really crappy, self-doubt, uncomfortable days. Sometimes we just have off days where we're just like not feeling super great. We might have some self-doubt. Yeah, we all have those because we're human beings. But I'm talking about those really nasty ones, those ones where you're like, what the hell is going on? Why am I feeling this way? So there could be something else going on within you at play. So it's pretty cool because usually when this happens, it's usually a realization that happens in hindsight, right? The experience happened and we're like, oh, boom, duh. Like, I should have seen that, right? So that's what's happening, right? But sometimes those intense days are just so intense that we're so confused on what is going on that we're really not able to have that bigger perspective, kind of like that aerial view of like what is going on. And that's okay, because hindsight is awesome too, because when it happens and you realize it, you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then, we move along from that, right? So what is happening, right? What is the idea, right, behind that intensity, that almost negative feeling intensity, right? Well, it might be negative. It might be a negative thing because guess what? You're leveling up. You're making room, right? So it's a good thing, right? It doesn't feel that way in that moment, not at all, but that icky uncomfortableness that you're experiencing is leaving you, and you have to experience it, unfortunately, right? It can't be like magic and be like, what's not serving me, it's just gonna boom, just magically leave. No, action, right? It has to happen. It has to manifest, right? So the experience that you're having, that really nasty, uncomfortable, icky feeling, maybe it's a moment, right? Maybe it's a day, right? It feels heavy, right? You're experiencing the thing that you're exposing, right? It's moving into the forefront of your being, and it is like on the edge, right? And then it just needs to be pushed off, right? Leaving you, right? So you're experiencing that thing that is no longer serving you in your life, right? And it's coming out in this overall feeling, and feeling's truth, right? So we need to experience what is leaving us, unfortunately, but the good news is something that is leveled you up, right, is moving in. And why is this happening? How did that happen? Well, you did it. You did something to make it happen. And again, this might all come in hindsight, but who cares, right? It's still working, right? So you could have just had this intuitive feeling one day and said, you know what? I'm not dealing with this shit anymore, right? I'm putting up a boundary, right? That's huge. That is huge action being put into place, right? You realize, oh my gosh, people are just driving me crazy, and I'm letting them drive me crazy. I'm done. I'm done letting people bother me anymore. That's huge, right? Another one. You know what? I'm not gonna be afraid anymore. I'm not gonna let fear keep me from living my life. Huge, huge. The moment you bring that out and put that into action, something's gotta leave, right? Something that's no longer serving you needs to leave, and it has to be really profound and intense for that intense good stuff to come in and serve you in your life in this moment. Remember, everything's in flux all the time. We're constantly changing. There's so much going on. Sometimes we're just so in our heads that we don't even, have that aerial view of the big picture, right? And that's okay, right? But when this happens, right, you got that intuitive feeling, you put it into action, then you have that crappy day because you're experiencing the shift that is happening that you started, right? And you're making room, right? So let's put this in the material world idea, right? To kind of bring it home, right? So say you have this dresser in your bedroom and it bothers you. It's old, it's falling apart, it doesn't hold all of your stuff, right? And every time you walk into the bedroom, you see it and you're like, I really need to get a new dresser, right? So you go out and you start shopping for a new dresser, right? You're putting into action, right? So you find the dresser, you buy it, and you bring it home, and what do you got to do? You can't put the dresser on top of the other old dresser, right? That's not going to work. And you can't shove it next to the other one, right? There's probably no room, right? So you got to remove the old one to be able to put the new one in its place, right? So this is the evolutionary process of existence, right? So everything, again, is always in flux. Every move, always moving. This is your evolutionary path, right? So you make the shift intuitively, right? Because you're this energetic being. And then it's put into action, right? And then your consciousness is evolving, right? That's what we're supposed to do as human beings on this earth. We're supposed to keep evolving, right? We're not supposed to take 100 steps back. We're not supposed to take one step back. We're supposed to keep evolving ourselves as an individual, as a human being, as part of society, right? So this is existence. It is the evolutionary path. So know that, right? Next time we have that really crappy day, this kind of wacky, weird energy day, there's something else at play happening, right? And you are creating it. And think back, what did I do? What did I do last week, right? What did I do yesterday, right? Did I make a decision? Right? Did I do something that sometimes we feel is not a big deal, right? Like putting up a boundary, I'm not dealing with that shit anymore, right? Done, right? That's huge. Energetically, that is huge, right? So sometimes we need to stop being in our mind so much and really being with ourselves, being really great listeners with ourselves. And then when we're really great listeners with ourselves, we're able to open up our scope of awareness and be on that more bigger picture plane, and we're leveling up. So be proud of yourself. Be very proud of yourself. Even when we're in those dark days, be like, I know something's happening. I know something's good is happening, right? I can feel it. I've been being a very good listener to myself. Okay, so don't be hard on yourself, right? We all have crappy days, but know those really, really intense ones. Do something to shift, right? Do something to shift it. And if we're having a week of just this really intense stuff, right? There's something really, really intense, equally as intense, happening for you. So keep putting these things into action. Keep having those aha moments because it's pretty cool. Awesome. Have a beautiful day. Later.